Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe! Hello and welcome to Weekly Tips. Today I just want to chat about layering systems, how you layered your painting to make it easier for you to paint with. This is my own kind of method. It's just a simple kind of technique. I'll show you how to kind of simply paint stuff. Make it real easy for you to edit and paint like background and characters. It's just a simple form. I mean, you can take it and do it in your own way. Feel free. The system may not work for you as well. You may like to just paint in one layer, have the background in one layer, but hopefully you do learn something and take something from it. Anywho, so this is kind of how it works. So I would usually don't, when you open Photoshop you have this background layer. I usually don't use that layer. It's just a normal layer, so you don't really need it. It's just there to start you off with. I usually make a layer to start off with that is grey, so I just kind of fill it grey. Voila. So that usually is my starting layer, and then I go to character. Usually it depends on what I'm working on. So I draw my character from there in black and white and everything like that. I don't usually start in color at all, just because if you start off with color, it's you can lack in some tone sometimes. So I tend to do black and white first. It seems to help, and I can quickly dive into color whenever I see fit. From there it gets the tones right and things like that. It's just not always the way I work, but it seems to be the one that kind of gets me the best results in the end. So that's why I do it that way. And then I have my drop shadow. The drop shadow. You should learn about drop shadows and things like that. And then I have my background layer. Sometimes though it will end up that I do the background and then I do the drop shadow. It all depends, but in the scheme of things, you want your drop shadow to be between your character and your background. And obviously I'm painting in low opacity. I usually paint in a quite low opacity, just so it's easy to paint off. It's not 100%, and I can see through, layer things on, things like that. Right, so sometimes you might want to group things as well. So I'll teach you how I made the sphere. So how I made the sphere is real easy. You just make a shape, a full shape, and then it's a full shape. It is grey. It should be on top just to show you. See, I have this grey sphere there. I rasterize it, and then I use this lock tool to paint in the area. So I can't paint here, but I can paint here. In the sphere that I've just created. So that's how I make the sphere character. In the end, you're probably drawing your character, and once you've got it fully blocked in, you can then lock your character, so you can just paint on the inside of the object, so that if you say want to edit a foot over here or something and you don't want to affect the background, you can do that real easy. It's nice to do that, to set that up if you're dealing with just quick shadows and things like that. I don't use it often, but it's really nice and handy, especially if you're doing one character. But usually now I'm doing like characters and backgrounds, so they've got to you got to work on all of them in a way. But it would be nice to start off with like this. It's quite nice. And easy, less messy, things like that. And then you'd have your drop shadow, obviously, and your background. And now I would also put them in groups if I like to. It's up to you. I mean, I usually paint everywhere, here and there and everywhere. I'm painting a tree over here, and then I see that the character needs editing. So I usually paint like, you know, everywhere. Where some people are more concentrated, they can like, you know, edit the tree, finish that off, and then edit the character, finish the character off, edit the bushes over here. You know, some people can do that. It depends on, you know, how you paint and things like that. But these painting system work. So after that, I create layers or groups. So basically, I'd put the two things in a group. So I'd put this and call this background, and I would call this character, and make sure these two layers are in the character. And then what I do is, so now I can create a color layer if I want to go from black and white to color. This is how I go from black and white to color. I create a color layer, so I'd create a layer on top, and then I do a color layer. And now what I'd do is make a clipping mask, so that will only affect this layer here, the layer below. And I would paint, say, the ball blue, so I'd paint that blue, and there we go, a blue ball. And then I don't have to do the same thing here because it's the last layer, but it can help. It depends on the way you set up, but this is nice to you can just have it like this and paint it pink. Make sure you've got the color layer on, and you can paint the whole background pink, and voila, and it's a nice system to have. And then what you can do is, if for what I do, I usually go, once I've got this quick color, I then on top paint in full color. So you see me go from black and white to full color. You usually see me in my paintings and all the streams that I do. You see me kind of do that. And yeah, if I do the same thing here. And you can probably do the layer create clipping mask as well to that, if you want to edit it that way. So yeah, that's an easy system that I kind of use for my paintings. Hopefully you did learn something. I didn't go through all these things, I didn't have a lot of time, but we can go what all of these things do. Different layer systems and things like that. But this is a simple layering, coloring technique that you can use for your paintings. Just hopefully I gave you something to think about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.